Hello, brothers and sisters. Hey, thanks for joining me today. I think I'm going to do another U.S. story. And, over the last few years, we've been hearing about all this right wing violence in the U.S. I guess all those Black Lives Matter, mostly peaceful protesters that burned down cities like Minneapolis, Minnesota, were all right wing. And I've been hearing that really Republicans need to tone down the rhetoric, especially after the death of Charlie Kirk. Stop complaining about Democrat politicians calling them fascists and Hitlers, because they are. But let me introduce you to Jay Jones. And Jay Jones is a Democrat, and he's running for Attorney General in the great state of Virginia. And for people in the UK who don't know, the Attorney General is the highest ranking law enforcement officer in a state or in the federal government. The police basically work for the Attorney General in that state because he is the top prosecutor. And he's running in Virginia, and I think he's ahead, but it's a close race. Let's just meet Jay Jones.
Hi, I'm Jay Jones, Democrat running for Attorney General of Virginia, and we're going to talk about public safety. As the son of prosecutors and the father of two young boys, I've always believed that keeping our communities safe is the most important responsibility of any Virginia leader. That's why, as a delegate, I increased public safety funding by more than 20%, ensuring that law enforcement and our first responders have the resources and training they need to succeed. I also sponsored bipartisan laws to strengthen penalties for sex offenders, keep kids safe in schools, and establish programs to stop gangs like MS-13 in their tracks. Then, as an assistant attorney general, I took on the gun lobby and helped get illegal guns off of our streets. And this week, I'm releasing my public safety plan. As Attorney General, I'll focus the office on stopping violent crime, supporting victims, and protecting our kids, not the MAGA extremism we're getting from Jason Miyares. Here's how we're going to do it. First, I'll combat violent crime by ensuring local law enforcement agencies can solve crimes and bring offenders to justice. We'll create a drug trafficking unit and work with our neighboring states to stop fentanyl trafficking. And we'll support community-based treatment and crisis response programs so people who need help get the treatment they need instead of ending up in jail. Next, I'll get illegal guns off of our streets by increasing interagency cooperation to target illegal guns. We'll hold gun manufacturers accountable for the damage their weapons cause and use settlement money and other federal resources to expand violence interruption programs that actually target the root causes of gun violence. Finally, I'll make the Attorney General's office a leader in protecting Virginia's children. I'll boost resources to fight domestic violence and child abuse, step up efforts to fight trafficking, and crack down on the social media companies violating privacy laws and taking advantage of our kids to increase their profits. My North Star is creating safer communities for my kids and for yours. And as Virginia's next Attorney General, I'm ready to deliver just that.
That all sounded really good. We definitely don't want some MAGA lunatic being in charge of the police in Virginia. It's a little bit troubling because all that stuff he said was really good, but let me show you some text messages one of his friends released. All right, so Jay, and by the way, Jay has not disputed that these are real. He did eventually come out and apologize after being pushed, but these tweets are real. So Jay, hey, they say nice things about everyone, laughing out loud. If those guys die before me, I will go to their funerals and piss on their graves, send them out awash in something. Jay Jones. The guy we just listened to said that. What else did he say? 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets the first 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people that you know, and he receives both bullets every time. So he's laughing and kind of fantasizing about murdering one of his political opponents. But it really is all the right-wing folk that are the lunatics. That's what I keep hearing. So whoever he was talking to said, Jay, please stop. And then he said, laughing out loud, okay. It really bothers me when you talk about hurting people and wishing death on them. You weren't simply asking questions, and you know it. Then he says, I genuinely was. I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your logic. You weren't trying to understand. You were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. Jennifer Gilbert was his opponent. Don't mind the cat. I've got to let him headbutt me or he bites me. Yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move policy. There it is. I point blank asked you more than 3 times and you dug in that you meant it, I honestly am questioning a lot today. I mean, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists? Yes. And this guy, folks, has a high probability of being the next Attorney General of Virginia. So I got to say, guys, this guy is actually evil. It's funny how he's calling his political opponent and her kids little fascists, but he's the one fantasizing about murdering her and her kids. This guy's just evil. This guy needs to be evaluated for a straitjacket and the rubber room. This guy does not need to be leading the police. I'm sure this is going to be a big story in the mainstream media, right? Well, let's look. Report: ABC, CBS, PBS have not mentioned the Jay Jones scandal one time on air. NBC dedicated 63 whopping seconds. And they've got a little graphic here. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler, put Gilbert in a crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. This is crazy. Then somebody commented, you know how you don't hate journalists and the media enough? NBC, 63 seconds. That's all they've spent on this in a week. The Big Four public networks for national news covered the scandal in which Jay Jones, the leading candidate for the top law enforcer in Virginia, vehemently argued for the justification to murder his political opponent and for his children to die in their mother's arm, a combined minute and 3 seconds since the story broke. This is called burying a story. So how much time did the broadcast networks devote to the text controversy? 63 seconds. MRC analysts looked at ABC, CBS, NBC, PBS evening, morning, and Sunday roundtables from October 3rd through October 7th. Okay, so it was 4 days. And found just one mention of the Jones text scandal. The only discussion of Jones on the broadcast networks arrived on NBC's roundtable show. This is why people don't trust the mainstream media anymore. This is why it is so important that people can get information through alternative media like X, this channel on YouTube, because the media is hiding stories they don't want you to see. Why? Because the media is ideologically captured by the left, and anything that's negative of the left gets buried, and anything that's negative of the right or the center gets amplified. This is just the latest example. And the 63 seconds was on one show on NBC when a former Trump staffer brought it up during a roundtable discussion. This is the entirety of the network news coverage. Consider where we are. On Meet the Depressed, former Pence Chief of Staff Mark Short calls out the National Democrats' silence over the Virginia Attorney General candidate Jay Jones's disgusting violent text, fantasizing about the murder of a political opponent and his family. Kristen Welker flips the hot potato over. So let's watch it.
But can I also say in your interview with Leader Jeffries that can we stop with the pearl clutching about the mean tweets and sombrero tweets?
I think the mean tweets and the sombrero tweets are funny. If you haven't seen the sombreros, Trump came out of a meeting just before the government shutdown with the Democrats, where the Democrats wanted the free health care for illegals, plus about $500 million to fund liberal news organizations like National Public Radio. And Trump said no. But then he made a funny meme with the mariachi music going, and he put a sombrero on the leader of the House of Representatives, and they had the leader of the Senate on the Democrat side saying really silly things about loving illegal migrants. And it was just a funny, silly AI thing. But the Democrats have lost their minds about it. And the media even asked the vice president, J.D. Vance, about the sombreros. And Vance said he had talked to the president, and the sombrero memes were going to continue until the Democrats reopened the government that they had shut down. It was greatness. It's funny, but the Democrats have been losing their minds about it. So that's what that was about.
That this week it came to light that a Democrat candidate for Attorney General of the state of Virginia called for the assassination of a political opponent, called for the assassination of that political opponent's family, and there's not one national Democrat calling for him to step aside.
Yeah, every Democrat has tried to make excuses for this, and because if this guy steps aside, everyone knows a Republican will win, and the Democrats can't have that. So even this guy, who is a left-wing lunatic, is better than a normal Republican. Even the police in Virginia have called on this guy to step aside because they don't want to work for him because he's calling for the death of his political opponents and thinks it's funny.
Not one. It's disgraceful.
Neera, let me let you respond to that because that is going to be a big story, I think, in the coming days.
I mean,
and then we'll go to Andrea.
I absolutely think people should criticize that 100%. I think it was a private conversation he had, but still awful and disgusting. Wasn't calling for it public, but terrible. And
it should be condemned.
It should be condemned. But then we should condemn that. But then you should condemn when the president calls the Democratic Party the party of Satan.
Yeah, in all fairness.
Why don't we just say both of those things?
In all fairness, I think I've paid the price for standing for political violence on our side.
But
yeah, I agree with that. But let's criticize other Republicans
I think I
or the
clearly
president
have. I think I
for
clearly
not
have.
saying
But
Satan.
the fact that not one Democrat has stood out when he called for political assassination, this moment of political violence is crazy.
I can't agree more. Democrats should be calling out all political violence. I always do. There's no room for political violence in America today by the right or the left. Trump calling him Satan is just being his normal, unpresidential self, getting down in the mud, making an ass of himself, and is not good, but it's not calling for the death of his political opponents. This is a call for violence. And again, this is similar to why people have gone out and shot Trump. This is why people have gone out and shot Charlie Kirk. Democrat politicians keep calling for political violence and saying, oh, it's their free speech. And no, we're not really inciting violence. But if you call your political enemies Hitler and fascists for long enough, eventually some deranged lunatic will go shoot them because it's okay to kill Hitler and fascists. We fought World War II over that to get rid of those guys. So in their own mind, some lunatic is going to be a hero by putting a bullet in Hitler. So the political violence rhetoric needs to stop. The Democrats need to stop calling people on the right fascists, racists, Hitlers. These words have no meaning anymore. They've been overused so much that when people hear them now, they don't care. People don't care. You can call people racist all you want now. People don't care because they know they're not racist. You're being hyperbolic and the words have no meaning anymore. Actual lunatics will take up the gauntlet for you and kill your political opponents on your behalf. And I've got to think that that's what these guys want because now they've seen assassination attempts against Trump and a successful one against Kirk. So the calls to violence need to stop, Mr. Jones. And I really hope you lose. You are a disgrace. I hope you're disbarred. And I hope that you don't win the election for Attorney General in Virginia. Hey, let me know, folks, if I got this right, wrong, what do you think? And if you like this, give me a like and subscribe. If you don't like it, don't watch me. But I'm just trying to get the news out there that you can't see in the mainstream media. Thanks, bye.